First thing is that when it comes to development football, Nathaniel, there isn't anything like there's too much meat in the soup, because the more initiatives there are, the more opportunities the youth and the kids and the talent of Africa have to develop. So if there are only two big tournaments recognized by the Confederation of African Football, it means then that the pool of players that can be developed, will be as much or as little as the two tournaments can take. Now, I'm saying this because we know that for example, there's already the CAF Under 17 AFCON, right? There's the Under 20 AFCON as well, and then occasionally every 4 years or so, getting to every 4 years, there is the CAF Under 23 Championships, which select players for the Olympic Games. So the Confederation of African Football have decided to do what they call the African Schools Championships for players between the ages of 12 and 15, right? Now, normally, Nathaniel, I mean, if you are between 12 and 15, you would qualify for the Under 17 AFCON. Is that not so? Right?
Exactly.
But yes. So on the surface, this may look like a replication or a repetition of what can be an Under 17 championship. And I did ask that question, to be honest. And I was told that, okay, the Under 17 championship is sort of for like a national team. But this is an emphasis on schools. So, which informs the format and how it works. That is to say, in Ghana, we currently have a juvenile tournament that the GFA started a couple of months ago. So the winners of the juvenile tournament will then represent Ghana at the zonal, that is the West African tournament. And then, if the winner of the zonal tournament is from Ghana, hopefully, they then go and represent West Africa together with the winners of East Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and so on and so forth at the Continental African Schools Championship. So that is the difference between so the winners of that will be heralded or will be held up as the CAF African Schools champions rather than the CAF Under 17 African champions. You get it? So that is the main difference and how it works. So for me as a journalist, I mean, it's a great initiative because I know from first-hand information, like you said, what initiatives like the Milo tournament, like things like in previous times, the Airtel Rising Stars, the Valco Championships, and all these other national championships held under the auspices of the private organizations or state-run competitions do for talent development in Ghana and in Africa as a whole. So I'm excited first as a journalist.
Great stuff there. Now, what you spoke to a couple of people as well.
Yeah.
Now, how ready do we sound to get this running and get this off the ground, and most importantly, keep it as a permanent feature on the yearly calendar, of football across the continent?
Well, yeah, that's always the question, isn't it? Sustainability and how we can make sure that it happens. So to begin with, CAF is starting with the countries where juvenile football is an annual affair. And thankfully, Ghana could be part of it because, as you know, under this current administration, it was only last year or so that they were able to start their own revival of cold football, which is essentially the juvenile championship. Now, thankfully, there are other countries like Ghana across the continent where juvenile football is as organized and as vibrant as we would like it to be. So, based on that, we can quietly and confidently say that having it as an annual affair should not be a problem, because so long as several countries across Africa in the various parts of the continent are able to keep juvenile football going, we are going to have an African Schools Championships. So that answers the first part of the question. The second part, obviously, will be a financial matter because you need, money to run these championships. So the guarantee from the Confederation of African Football is that they've got a sponsor who has put an initial $10 million behind this initiative that can be used to organize the various zonal championships, select the winner, and then play the final championships in the continental finals, so that they can select a winner. And they have an initial guarantee of 3 years, and so that money is there. And then after that, it will be renewed. The sponsor for this one currently is the Motepe Foundation.
Interesting stuff there. And obviously, Ghana is. It couldn't have come at a better time because the FA also has an initiative for under 15 football to develop it, isn't it?
Yes. So I mean, one of the reasons why they were excited about Ghana was because, like I said, they were looking for countries where, like you are saying, the question you asked was, how ready are we to get it off the ground?
Exactly.
The answer is that it is already off the ground because they are selecting countries in which it is already up and running. So it's not something they are now going to cook and start from the beginning. They are not building it on nothing. They are building it on a platform of countries where juvenile football is already a thing. So they are just saying that, Ghana, you already have a juvenile football competition, don't you? So by July 2022, give us your winner. We will fly them to wherever we decide to have the West African one. Nigeria will bring... Interestingly, Nathaniel, let me just add this. Nigeria initially said they will not participate. But when they heard that Ghana have an under-15 and are going to produce champions, Nigeria are hastily playing their under-15 as we speak so that they can come, because they don't understand how Ghana will be there and they won't be there.
As for this sporting rivalry between Ghana and Nigeria, we have to have a whole 1 week to discuss it. Yeah, sure. So pretty good. This is something we're going to be expanding in subsequent shows, and in some of our our thought leadership platforms. But let's also talk about the big event. I mean, we've been looking forward to this for a while now. The sporting fraternity, many people in other sectors have been looking forward to this. In fact, last night there were people who were willing to even buy tables if there were any tables remaining, and it's a good feeling, isn't it?
It's not a good feeling, Nathaniel. It's a wonderful feeling.
Because,
they always say that a nation that doesn't celebrate its heroes is not worth dying for. And we have to admit that, when it comes to our sporting heroes, Asamoah Gyan is in a very interesting space because, of his very colorful career that he has, whether it's on the pitch or outside the pitch as well. So for the fact that he was able to take a decision to write a book, while he is playing, it's a big deal. And listeners may not understand why it's a big deal. Now, let's just put it in context. Professional football started in this country in 1956, 1957. That's professional football as we know it at the moment. Between 1956, 1957 and now, we have not had one single player. Think about it. Think about the players Ghana has produced over the years.
Exactly
we
the point.
Not had even one write down and document his thoughts and give us the historical perspective as they saw it to the events that happened in their careers and even, beyond. We have not had even one. Now, the great thing is that even if we had one, because in May, that is in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, the legendary C.K. Jemfi will be releasing his book. But C.K. Jemfi has gone, you see. So it is being done posthumously. We are not even having those greats who are alive thinking about writing books. And for Asamoah Gyan to decide to do this while he is in arguably his youth, and that is why it's such a big deal. And that's why people are raving. And it's an exciting thing. And I'm at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel. You were with me here just a couple of minutes ago. You saw the preparations here. The red carpet has been done. They are trying the sound and making sure everything is in tip-top shape for the event tonight, where we are expecting the president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to launch the book himself. We have a whole host of dignitaries from across the continent who are coming, and Ghanaian football legends, both male and female, because I was told that Asamoah Gyan was very keen on inviting, our female superstars as well of yesteryear to also join in the celebration. Football administrators, people from the entertainment side. Asamoah Gyan is an entertainer, and so
exactly. He's a through and through.
I'm looking at the invitation list, and it's like a who is who of entertainment as well. And
yeah, exactly.
Yes, because Asamoah Gyan is a showman. He's a bit of a showman. So, event starts 5, starts the red carpet, and then the main event is 7 p.m. And that is what is happening now at the moment here at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel.
And of course, the man in charge of this production is the legendary Anthony Baffour, who has a minimum of 2 FIFA World Cup finals, under his sleeve.
Yes, he is one of the main people, obviously, because there's a big involvement of ex-African football stars. It will come as no surprise to anybody that Anthony Baffour is involved, because he's the one coordinating them and giving us the information on how to organize these things so that at least we have a locally, global, and a world-class Ghanaian event tonight.
A locally global and a world-class Ghanaian event tonight is what Gary Al Smith is telling us from the grounds at the Kempinski Gold Coast City Hotel. Well, if you didn't get an invitation, I'm sorry. So, we will play back.
And about the book, about the book.
Yeah, I was coming to that, Gary. Now let's talk about your role as well. I mean, you have played a very, very key role in doing this chronicling and documentation of events that have happened over the years. Now, we're not going to go into details, obviously, but tell me the kind of journey that we will travel with Asamoah Gyan through his lens when we're reading this book.
So the book is a memoir. They are memoirs of Asamoah Gyan. The difference between memoirs and autobiography is that it's a very small difference by significance. So an autobiography, in the strictest sense of the word, Nathaniel, is everything about the person's life. Is everything about the person's life. Memoirs are key highlights of a specific period of a person's life. So that is there. So Gyan's book are memoirs. And in that respect, they chronicle his football journey from the beginning, how it began, until now, as we speak. So, for example, you are not going to see things about, when I was in secondary school, we used to go and Shi Jamai. No, you won't see things like that. He mentions his secondary school in relation to how it affected the growth of his football career. You get it?
Definitely.
Right, if it were an autobiography, he would now tell you that, when I was going to school, we used to jump the wall and but this is specifically how his time at Accra Academy was shaped, how he was he took part in the national championships and so on and so forth. So then from Accra Academy he goes on to Liberty Professionals, how he started his schools, then to Udinese, then to France, then to his Black Stars beginnings, the national team, and so on and so forth. So those ones. And then I'm sure what people are looking forward to are the other part of his career that made headlines.
Exactly.
I can tell you, Nathaniel, that he starts the book with the big one, with the penalty.
Yes.
The penalty starts the book.
Wow.
The penalty start, because he wanted to get it out of the way. So the first thing you see when you open the book is the penalty. And then he touches on everything. He talks about Castro in detail, the disappearance of Castro, what happened before, the incident, his own thoughts on what has happened, whether he thinks Castro is still alive or not. He talks about, all the other unsavory things as well. I mean, and that is what I liked about working with him. He was willing to touch on, the less desirable part that I know Ghanaians sometimes don't like Asamoah Gyan for. And he bears it all. And even in the blurb, he mentions that he does not write about it because he wants sympathy, but he feels that his story has been told only from one side, and he wants to tell the story as he knows it so that people would understand him better. And for me, it was an absolute pleasure writing the book with him. Yes, together with the team.
Congratulations to you and the team. And I know
This is
that
about
everybody.
him, not about us. So I
Yes,
mean, we barely mention it because for me, it is him. We did our best to help him, but Nathaniel, today is his moment. Let him enjoy it.
definitely, definitely. And
Yeah,
then
let him enjoy it.
And then
Let him
later
enjoy
on,
it.
you have to come and answer the questions about jumping the wall because when Asamajan was in Accra Academy, there was only one wall at the back. The front was
Yeah,
constructed years later. So you
yes.
have to come and tell us what it is that you were doing at Presec because of which you refer to jumping of walls. Eh? Because
Sure.
we're not as tall as Tony Bafu, so I don't know how you managed to do it, but we'll talk about that later on. So all the best with the preparations. We'll talk about the rest of it later, and of course, for those of you who missed, you sure are going to get all of the big highlights on all of our platforms later on. Gary, have a good time. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Gary L. Smith here at Joy Sports, a part of this and a red carpet host for tonight's event. I will be on the main stage. It will be a great moment. We look forward to it as well. So, just before we start the big conversation about the feats that have been chalked in athletics as we look forward to the Commonwealth Games and other multi sport events later this year, there's a message that has already come in, and this is from an ardent listener of Joy 99.7 FM, who is a Liverpool fan. Now, Liverpool are leading Newcastle by 1-0. Now, he has a residence called Anfield. Believe it or not, it's right here in Accra. Now, he attended St. Augustine's College, and his name is Francis Boateng, a seasoned chartered accountant. And he says, Nathaniel, I'm glad that today Liverpool is playing. I'm very sure that by 90 minutes, the scoreline will be a very good and a favorable one for Liverpool. And you know, I'm a die-in-the-wool Liverpool fan. So greetings to all my Liverpool friends. And greetings to all our mates and like products of St. Augustine's College. Today, we will have an emergency Aponchikraka in my residence. So everybody should be there at cantonments. Everybody should be there. Just contact your year group mates or contact Nathaniel and get the directions so that we celebrate together this Aponchikraka, this emergency Aponchikraka. Hey, All right, greetings to you, Francis Boateng, Apsu Francis Boateng, and thank you so much for always doing the listening here on the Joy Sports Link and all of our other programs here on Joy 99.7 FM. So, so all my Apsu friends, I've delivered my message to you. Apsu Francis Boateng says that everybody should report today at 3 p.m. at his residence. So, I've delivered my message. Okay, let's get down to the business here, shall we? Here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto. I'm ably backed by the rest of the Joy Sports team. And so we're going to get down to the business now. We're going to have a big conversation with a man who previously was an athlete and now is handling the administrative tables of the Ghana Athletics Association. Remember, Birmingham is knocking on the doors. And the question we're asking ourselves is, after having one medal from Japan, which was Samuel Techi's bronze medal, what do we want to look forward to at the Commonwealth Games? Can we have a better story to tell? And do you also realize that for once in a very long time, we're having our athletes record very big feats in athletics all over the world in on varied competitive platforms. So Joseph Paul Amoah recently ran a sub-10 time. We'll be going into the details. Of course, the man of the moment, Benjamin Azamati, also ran a sub-10 time, which improved on his previous record and has also put him there at the top of the ladder. Of course, we will also proudly refer to the story of this young lady, a 25-year-old long jumper, who reminds us of the feat of Ignatius Gazer in the mid-2000s when he went to the World Athletics Championships to win a gold medal. We all do, as fans, want to relive those. Yes, a silver medal, beg your pardon. He won a silver medal. We all want to live those moments, over and over again. But the question is, how did these athletes get there? What is the support system around them? And what do we need to do from our end here to ensure that they stay right there as elite athletes till they wrap up their respective careers? And most importantly, win the laurels that we all so much desire. Bawa Fusaini is my guest here in the studio. And joining us virtually as well will be an athletics enthusiast, a journalist, and the man who also serves as managing editor of Liquid Sports Ghana. I'm talking about Erasmus Quao. Erasmus Quao, over the years, has specialized as a journalist in athletics and has loads of thoughts to share with us today as we look forward to how we can support these athletes who have been named so that we increase the number of athletes who are performing at the high level and also ensure, most importantly, like I said, that they mount the podiums when the moments of honor come and the Ghana flag flies high above others. This is the Joy Sports Link. My name is Nathaniel Atto. Welcome to the show. We're getting down to the conversations now, and do remember that your thoughts are very, very, very welcome. 055 11 997. 055 11 997. Send in your messages. I know that most of you have stories from the Interco days. Most of you have participated before, and most of you had big potential, but the dreams fizzled out. Some of these young lads have made it out there. They're competing on some of the biggest platforms, and they are getting it right. How do we make sure that these are very much maintained? Well, we'll get down to the conversations now. Baf Hussein is here with me in the studio, and very shortly, Erasmus Quao will also join me here. And for the Liverpool fans, we are leading by 1-0 away against Newcastle. Thank you very much for staying here with us on Joy 99.7 FM. As always, my name is Nathaniel Atto, and thank you so much for keeping it here on this dial. Baf Husseini is the CEO of the Ghana Athletics Association, and I'm sure that he's basking in a lot of pride, just like myself and many others who chanced on this news some weeks ago. And it's just refreshing that we have athletes. I mean, if you refer to yesteryear when you had the Rex Brobies and stuff run times that made them the fastest. Rex Broby became the fastest man on the African continent. These are accolades which we want our people to assume and claim, But, well, the moments are here with us, so we need to live them. But you tell me what your major reaction was, beginning with, I think it was Deborah Akwa who recorded the highest time to make her the topmost long jumper in the world. Tell me about your... let's talk about the reaction and the elation.
When you are an athlete and you find that your fellow athlete or the current athlete is being ranked in the world, it shows that... sorry, I just have some terrible cold for the last 2 days. If you're an athlete and you see your fellow athlete or your younger athletes being ranked, it's huge thing.
The ranking alone is a big deal.
Ranking alone is a big deal.
Sure.
I remember around 2000 and 2013, we were only 2 ranked Ghanaian athletes.
Wow.
It was Geza and Maggie. Sometimes it came to Aziz. So every year the World Athletic...
Ignatius Geza and Margaret Simpson. Very well.
Every year the World Athletic will send a form for us to fill because they were ranking every 30 athletes. The first 30 ranked athletes in the world, every year they send a form to the association, you fill them, then you do what they call Adams whereabout, so that they can be tracking their training. These are, for a very long time, this was where Ghana was. First 30 ranked in the world. Now, just last year, we came to number 3 in Africa. Azamadi came to number 3 in Africa, just the last season. This season, we are not getting only one athlete who been ranked number 1 in the world. We have 2 athletes. Wow. Deborah Akwa with a 9.89 meters, and Joseph Azamate with his time.
Benjamin Azamate, yeah.
Benjamin Azamate with time of 9.90.
Wow.
I cannot remember when a Ghanaian athlete had ever ranked number 1 in the world. That time now. Maybe if I'm wrong.
Well,
you can
well,
correct me.
not in my my journalism career is just about 2 decades, but I don't remember.
I don't remember. So this athletes have achieved. It is not a small achievement. It is not, in all standards, it's not achievement. It is not a small achievement. Not only one of them, 2 at the same time, and Joseph Polamua running sub 10 to 9.94. Had it not been Azamate recent 9.90, that one could also been a national record. And now, for the first time in the history of Ghana athletics, we have 2 athletes who are the world first and second, 2 athletes who are doing sub 10. It has never happened in this country.
Wow.
So this is the moment that we need as a country to seize the moment and go and get what we have been chasing for the last 50 or 60 years, the Olympic gold medal.
Wow.
Now, world medal and Olympic medal is on site. It is not too far away from Ghana. Even both the relay and the 100 meters, global medal is not far away. It's within our reach. What we just need to do as a state is to get to support these athletes. Let them get to the medal and give it to Ghana. Just go and take the medal and bring it. They have the ability, they have the strength, they have the experience now. What they just need is they need state support. Without state support, I'm not sure any sporting discipline can win anything globally.
And that brings me to the stories from yesteryear, or the stories of yesteryear. When you read the professor, Azumah Nelson's book, he refers to his previous relationship with our departed ex-President Rawlings very well. And he refers to the sacrifices that ex-President Rawlings made during the time to ensure that these guys had basic and decent training resources. They had the right nutrition and all of that. And some of the stories were even twisted around and became folklore. I mean, the famous Yoke Gari and Beans story. Apparently, yes, exactly. Apparently, it wasn't President Rawlings who was going to eat the beans and Gari, but then he was going for the boxers at Winneba. And so it's very, very clear that that we need state support. I very much agree. Yes. I very much agree with you on that. Now, I want us to zero in on the journeys, the respective journeys of these athletes. We have so many of them who are doing well, but because these ones have stepped a few more poles ahead, we want to throw the focus on them so that they inspire the conversation. Now, let's talk about the respective journeys of these young guys. I mean, I remember covering, the between the National Unity Games and the University Games at the University of Ghana Stadium, and that was when I saw Azamate for the very first time. I mean, that day he won both the 100 and the 200 meters, and he has grown from strength to strength.
Yes. Azamate, Joseph Polamua traveled a bit longer than Azamate.
Okay.
Azamate, when he went to the World University Game, it seems in Spain or in Italy, that is where we saw him.
Okay.
Because for a very long time, Ghanaian student athletes were not running the 10 race. So he went and ran 10:37. That was something that we really opened our eyes. And so this guy is going to be another athlete for Ghana. So it was him and this guy athlete, Robert athlete, Gadayi. At that time, Gadayi was the fastest in Ghana.
Sure.
I'm a man local athlete. He was doing 10:46. So we added him to the local team, to the team to go to the African Games in Morocco. But when Azamate ran that time, we have to do the re-switching because we were looking for the best times. So that's where we saw Azamate. So when we came, we took Azamate to Niger, and he did so well. We added him to the African Games in Morocco. He outran a Nigerian who was a sub-10 runner.
Wow.
Divan. Because
Wow.
they saw his run and they said, no, if they want to beat Ghana in the 4x100, then they have to beat Ghana at where Azamati is, the back straight.
Sure.
So they put their fastest athletes at the back straight, who was running at that time 9.86.
Wow.
And Azamati outran him.
Wow.
That is where the association realized that no. And I said it on several platforms that Azamati will run 9.84. And I'm still standing by that. By the close of this year or before the Commonwealth Games or the African Games next year, Azamati will run 9.84.
And isn't it also refreshing that we're getting close to a major event as the Africa Games, and we're getting these kinds of indications about our big performance and people who can step up the plate and rise to the occasion?
Yes. So that is what I said initially, that these athletes have gotten to where the state needs to support them just to go and pick the medals. They've gotten to where the state just needs to support them to go and pick the medals. Azamati 9.90. I mean, nobody in this world can say that this guy cannot win a medal. What they just need is that there's always a gap between their training and their performance. When they finish their NCCO competitions at the end of May or the first week or second week in June, that is where their NCCA completes, the season completes. So what will they do between second week of June to the end of August? That is where we have the Olympic Games, if there's Olympic Game or the Commonwealth Game or the World Championship or the African Championship. So you realize that the time that they use in qualifying to these major competitions is always lesser than the time that they compete at this major competition because of that gap. So now what we need to do as a state, I'm using the word very careful, as a state, very careful, not the government, a state, that we need to support these athletes in that period between second week of June to the end of August. That is where their school competition ends. That is where they have to use their own money to go and enter competition, pay for the competition, take their travel allowances, their accommodation, and all, and pay their doctors and pay their coaches to go and compete. The Ghana state cannot allow these athletes to continue using their personal money to go and enter competition, to go and train on their own just to come and run for Ghana. It is high time now that the state of Ghana came out to support this athlete. What would they have done to secure support of the state? It's not the performance. And they have achieved the performance.
They have achieved the performance. Your messages are welcome. We're going to be reading them. I know that normally when we're discussing, athletics issues, like though loads of people are very passionate about it, especially because of what we all saw in terms of quality in during our days in secondary school, or during our second cycle days. But let me bring in Erasmus Quao, who is the managing editor of Liquid Sports Ghana, has done a lot when it comes to reportage on athletics, has also served on various platforms and with various bodies when it comes to the running of the sport in Ghana. Erasmus, good to see you. And I realize that today you've beaten me with the ball. Yours is smoother than mine. Can you hear me? Please unmute your mic as well. Okay, so we're going to do our best to re-establish contact with Erasmus Quao, who was just about making his opening submissions here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. So remember, we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can join my Joyline TV and watch these moments here on the show. Also, remember, your thoughts are also very, very important because the show is for you and about you as well. All right, so we're going to reach Erasmus again, re-establish contact with him again so that he makes his initial submissions. But let's stick with it. So we have to start getting into specifics.
Yes.
We know it's capital intensive. Sometimes the argument that is made is that we push in so much resources into football, and little fractions of what we push into football can do magic, in quotes, or do a lot of
Things in other sports.
A great deal for sports like athletics.
Yes, I try to refrain myself from doing the comparison between the footballs and the other disciplines. In Ghana, if we don't take time, we risk becoming a monosport country.
Very well.
That one sport matter than another sport. But we shouldn't go there. Let's talk of what the state can do to empower our athletes to go and get the global medal for us.
Very well.
And firstly, we have to support this athlete. Most of the athletes, when they complete school, they stop the sports because they need to go and feed themselves. They need to pay their bills. So they cannot continue to go and do work for themselves and go and pay for training facility and go and pay for the coaches. The small money they earn for their bills, they use it to go and do training. That is where a lot of the athletes from the US, when they complete school, they don't continue training because it's difficult to train when you are working. And we are losing a lot of good athletes like Azamati, like so many of them. But if you look at the other countries like Nigeria, what Nigeria did to Blessing Okagbare, once she completed school, the Nigerian government gave her $120,000 to start with. So that was the seed money that she used. Look at how she has propelled Nigerian athletics. Even getting a Puma sponsorship for the team, they are still benefiting from it, even though she has been banned for all sort of reasons. But if we, as a state, can also support this athlete, to let them not to work, don't work. The Ghanaian state will give you maybe 5,000 a month. Don't work. You train between June to August. Take this amount of money, go and train, get your coaches, enter a competition that you want to enter, but we want you to give us results at the Olympic Games. We want you to give us results at the World Championship. We want you to give us results at the Commonwealth Games or the African Championship. If you don't get the result for us, next time we won't support you with that kind of funding. And we see what will happen. If Azamati should be given $50,000, Joseph Polamo should be given $50,000, and Deborah should be given $50,000. Use this money, go get us medal at the World Championship. One day, they will. Take this, we are going to give you $25,000 every season or $50,000 every season for the next 4 years till we get to the Paris Olympics. If you take this money, Paris Olympics, we either need a medal, either bronze or silver or gold even. Take this amount of money for the next 4 years. Or the federation, we are going to give Ghana Athletics Association Federation $1 million per year for the next 4 years. And we want you to give us these medals at the Olympic Games in Paris. The federation will be able to do that because we have the technical people now, we have the athletes now, we have the administrative infrastructure now. What we just need is the resources, financial resources, to be able to push this athlete to the world stage. Because the world stage, the financial model a federation needs at the world stage, it is not a small thing. It's very huge. Imagine we are going to give Azamati maybe a stipend of $2,000 a month. Deborah Akura, $2,000 a month. Joseph Polamo, $2,000 a month. Sean Safu Entry, yes, $2,000 a month. Joseph Menu, $2,000. The quartet team, they are about 5, including Deborah, 6. And there are other athletes, there are other equal athletes who are also doing so well. But we are just narrowing to these athletes. These are about 6 athletes. It means every month the federation have to be given out $12,000 for this athlete for the next 4 or 5 months. We don't have that money. The only place that we can get that money is from the state. To get a sponsorship, to give to that money to athlete directly, it's difficult to get that kind of sponsorship because corporate sponsor will only want to sponsor an event. But to give to athletes, go and train for the next 3 years, go and train for the next 2 years, or go and train for the next 6 months. It will be difficult for you to get a corporate sponsor, a corporate institution to give out that kind of money. But the state, we had everything to gain from these athletes. Should be able to do that. Because once they are becoming the world number 1, if you go to the Sopaya or the World Athletics database, you see them Ghana with the Ghana flag.
Exactly. We will come back to this, but let's see if now we're clear with Erasmus Quao. Erasmus, let's test the mic a little bit.
Yes, I hope you can hear me now.
Loud and clear, Erasmus. Good to have you here on the show.
Yes, great. I was so privileged when I got a message from Gary that you wanted me on today. And athletics is something we'd love to, talk about. And so it's a great platform and a great topic you are treating today.
Great stuff. Good to see you as well. Erasmus, if you were sitting with the president of Ghana at this moment and he didn't have a good appreciation of the structures, within the school system, the structures at the national level, and the kind of weight of this achievement that has been made by these three athletes we're focusing the discussion around, what will you tell him in making a case to bring them on board or bring resources on board, state resources on board, just like Mr. Bawaf Hussaini has said, to ensure that it becomes a permanent feature and it also becomes a long-time commitment from the state? What would you tell the president?
Well, firstly, I'll tell the president we are in such a great time, great season of athletics in Ghana. Since 2005, we've not had world-class athletes, as Mr. Bawa, was saying. When I talk about world-class athletes, I mean people who have medal prospects. Remember, Ignatius Geyser came third at the Helsinki IF World Championships in the long jump. It was actually a silver in the long jump. And then Margaret Simpson had a bronze in the heptathlon, also 2005. From that period, we have not had Ghanaian athletes rise up to those ranks where we could simply say we're going to be even in the finals of the relay, of the 100 meters, of the 200 meters, and even in the field events. So we have this core group that has been developed, I must say, by the GA over a period. If you take every one of them, they all have stories to tell. Abigail Quatin started all the way back 2014 at the African Youth Championships in Gaborone, Botswana. I was there with the team. She was with Margaret Simpson. Remember, Margaret that same year qualified for the World Youth Olympics and subsequently got a gold medal at 2014. Abigail Quatin did a jump of 1.50 meters in the high jump. And today she's doing 1.92 meters. That is amazing. It's an 8-year period where the Athletics Association has helped her go to international competitions. Apart from the Africa Youth Games, we had the African Championship 2016. We've had the African Championship 2018 and the African Games 2019. So clearly, this development path that enabled her go to school in the US has helped her, and she's in a world-class, scene now. We can talk, all about Azamati, so I don't even want to go there. Joe Paul is another one that has come through from the year 2016 at the African University Games. Now they are doing fantastic time, as you've alluded to. One critical thing I always look at, Nat, last year around March, Azamati did that national record, 9.97 seconds. Again, March 2022, Azamati has broken the national record again with 9.90 seconds. What is this telling us? There's a science behind this. It's like a football team going through preseason. January, February, they go through that season, they do the indoor championships, and they peak just at the right time the schools need them at their championships. So he's peaking in March for 2 consecutive years. That for me should also tell us that if from March we're able to sustain this with some level of funding, that the issue you are talking about today, after school go down in May, June, July, August has always been our problem. And that is where we have our major championships, the World Championships, the Commonwealth Games, the African Championships. These students after school have to fend for themselves. So it's either you do track or you go out there, get a work for yourself, and then look after yourself. So this is where the state comes in. We are in that great period where these guys can medal at the upcoming Commonwealth Games, where they can make the finals of the World Championships and the other events that we have in front of us. So if I was to tell the president, I'll simply say that, look at the Black Stars, look at the men's relay quartet. Whenever they win or they get to the final, look at the happiness, the buzz that goes around the nation. If we want that to happen consistently with us, then between the period May, June, let's camp them, let's give them stipends, and let's be able to help them to make the nation proud. That is the end. That's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve national honor.
Great
we
stuff.
want Ghana's flag out there. Yes. So that for me is what I would say.
If you just joined us, we're on the Joy Sports Link, and we're discussing how Ghana can utilize this very big moment where we have world-class athletes in ensuring that we get big performances, medal-winning performances or laurel-winning performances at major international sporting events, and also continue that tradition. How do we achieve that? Our guests here on the show are the CEO of the Ghana Athletics Association, Mr. Boaf Hussaini, a former athlete himself, and a man who tackles athletics not from the tracks or from the field, but from the back of the microphone, with the keypad, and also through other media. Okay, so your messages are welcome. Like I said, we always like to be big on your views as well here on the Joy Sports Link. Now, let's get into the psyche of a sportsman or an athlete who has to do two things at a time, or multitask in this case. So there's work to be done so they can earn money at the end of the week or of the month, and there is the sport as well, and they need to keep themselves in shape. How difficult is that, juggling work with full-time athletics?
It is not only difficult, but most of the times it's very discouraging.
I see.
Yes, sometimes they even do three things.
I see.
They even school, they go to work, and they come and train. It's most discouraging thing that an athlete can go through, or athletes should be allowed to go through. That is one of our biggest challenge that we have. Not only the foreign-based athletes, even those at the SSS level here. Sometimes you see them competing the SSS, they're not able to go to the universities, or they're unable to join the security services, and their homes are far away from the city centers, from Kumasi, or even from Tamale, or from Accra, or from Cape Coast. They have to go back to their village, and those people sometimes are just too good athletes. Once we allow them to go back to their villages, that's the end. In the US, once they finish school, once they've realized that they cannot combine the two, and they need to feed themselves, they simply abandon the sports and go and find job for themselves. That is where we lose a lot of foreign-based and local-based athletes. So what we need to do as a state to be able to curtail this thing and to maintain our athletes, even when they are completing, even when they have completed school, is to get their feet on the ground. We are not saying that they should continue giving them. Maybe if Joe Paul has completed. Now he's working and he's training, even though he's doing the best time. But if we should have given him something to continue training with that work, he would have even done much better than this one. Better than this one. So if Joe Paul hasn't got athletics at heart, or is not athletic enthusiast, and he knows that he has got something to offer Ghana, he would have stopped just like the others who have stopped. But so we need this time the support that we can give to these great athletes for them to stop work and become full professional athletes. That is where we'll see them at the Diamond Leagues, we'll see them at the Golden League, and we'll see them onto the podium. But let me just add something to what Erasmus has said. If I had the opportunity to speak to our president, I would say, Mr. President, football is not the only sport that can bring joy to Ghanaians. Football is not the only sport that can bring people together. The athletics can also do that. If we get that support to let these athletes medal at the World Championship or at the Commonwealth Games, even both at their individual events and the Cortex, you see the joy that will bring to Ghanaians. You see the unity that will bring to Ghanaians. I can remember when they won the 4x100 in Morocco. You could see the excitement in Ghanaians. It was crazy.
Look, and Twitter was buzzing. Erasmus, that moment where Ghana won, that 4x100 meters event. I mean, the buzz on social media was just crazy. It was just amazing. And I said to myself, look, it's because we haven't seen this in a very long time, and we're missing out on something. Didn't that hit you as well, Erasmus?
It is. I remember the exact place I was at Dansuman when that thing happened. And I mean, we're just all over the place. For a moment, we just forgot where we were, jumping with the flag, just saying things and getting merry. But that is what we need, you know, and we actually can sustain this. I don't know. For a long time, we were expecting something like that to happen. And you look at the quartet, how they bonded together in unity, how they just forgot about affiliation or whatever or wherever they came from. At that time, I mean, when Sean Safwinchu led off the team, when Azamati, you look at the back straight and how he ran it, and he was up against Oduduro, the Nigerian sprinter, who had done a sub-10 at the time. And so nobody really expected that from Azar. Then we got into the curve with Martin Usoenchi, and Jose Paul still had a lot of work, you know, to bring it home. It was just that thing we all needed. And so for me, it told us about what we were missing and the fact that Ghana had arrived. And so, Nat, to describe that moment again and to hope for the best, for me, simply just tells us if we just put in one or two things, I mean, we can actually have this sort of happiness being sustained over a long haul.
Okay, and Bowers was referring to some, some conservative estimates. I would like to put them that way. So, for instance, if we give, a monthly stipend of about $2,000, $3,000 to each of these, high-level athletes, it could do something good for them. It could make them is comfortable the way. At least they could be comfortable and they could focus on training. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, at least. If we are able to give them that monthly stipend, or we give them a lump sum for the whole season,
okay.
Either way, this athlete will be grateful, and they will produce, and they'll give her the medal that we have been looking for a very long time. Now, I cannot overestimate the importance of 3 Ghanaian athletes rank the first 3 or first 4 in the world. It's even difficult to see, even in Jamaica or in some other country, that you see 3 athletes in one season being ranked among the first 3 in the world. It is only 1 or 2, but this what has just happened in Ghana. We can't just let it go. We have to reap the benefit. These athletes have to mount the podium, even at the World Championship. I know the Commonwealth Games, they will, and the next year All African Games in Ghana here, they will produce a lot of gold medals. But we cannot just say because our athletes are now world ranked, number 1, number 2 ranked in the world, we should just let them go like that. That's why I'm constantly insisting that they need state support to be able to maintain them at where they are. They are able to go to where they are on their own, and to sustain themselves there, it's not an easy thing. Sustain themselves at that level is even difficult of getting to that level. And that is where they need all of us, our support. They need the support of the Athletic Association. They need the support of the ministry. They need the support of the NSA. They need the support of the media. They need the support of the state of government, even the parliamentarians. I was even expecting that at least a comment should be made in Parliament for this achievement. Because being ranked number 1 in the world...
I agree with you.
Yes,
I agree with you.
Being ranked number 1 in the world. I remember when we were playing the Nigeria World Cup qualifier in Kumasi. All the parliamentarians, they were in Black Star jerseys. I'm not sure it was anybody who have asked them to do that. They just did it for the love of the of Ghana, and for that matter, for love of the national team. They should also show the same love for this our athletes. We expect that a comment should be made on the floor of the parliament that these athletes have done well, and we need as a state to support them. I think my MP and the minority leader and majority leader, both majority and minority leader, are all sportsmen. They all love sports, and even the chief whips also love sports. So I'm calling on them to also come to the aid of these athletes, so that we as a federation, we can be the vehicle through which that support can get to the athletes. So that when we get to the World Championship in Oregon, Eugene, or we go to the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, something good should happen.
Erasmus, let's start. Very well. I wanted you to start doing some projections for the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, but please come in with that point before we do that.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Bao raises very important points there. But I also say that these are about the most committed athletes that we've ever had. I'm not saying anybody in the past has not been committed, but I've been with this team right from 2012, 2014. And this is what I would say. I remember 2014 at the Marrakesh African Championships. These athletes were paid nothing. By the ingenuity of the GOC then, we had gone to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. So instead of flying us back in the original tickets, they made it such a way that we had to go through Morocco before coming to Ghana. So they obviously had received some per diem allowances for the Commonwealth Games. At the African Championships, they got nothing. But these athletes still produce medals in the relay, in the sprints, in the jump events, and whatever. We got to Ghana.
And Erasmus, this is a time as well. This is a time as well that we're always heavily confronted with nationality switches as well.
Yes, of course. Maybe the IAF has made it a little bit tougher to do nationality switches now, which will protect some of us, who don't have the wherewithal, don't have the resources to be able to compete with the other top nations. So that is just something maybe on the plus side for us. But these athletes are really committed. For me, that's the point I really want to make. So for anybody who's listening or watching and then asking, so what if you don't receive the support from the state? What I'll tell such a person is that already they have committed their own resources to get into the world relays, to international competition from their own pockets, with some support from GA and some other private sponsors. We also need to add that even GNPC and the government in some competition, in some instances, are coming to help. But that notwithstanding, if we want to get to the next level, this is where we have to start really thinking about what we can do to help them. I also want to just tackle this bit. In time past, we've had student athletes, Professor Dodo Andrew Owusu and co in the USA, in the same environment, in the same situation. How did they deal with such situations? They had to combine the schooling and sports to be able to achieve their aims. Of course, they were top class athletes back then, the Leo Miles Mills and all that, but it was such a tough thing. They were able to achieve something for Ghana. These athletes are doing something similar, but circumstances have changed. And so that's where the point being made about state sponsorship and state support becomes so paramount. And we have the Commonwealth Games ahead of us. If you want to look at projections, the Commonwealth Games is about 70 nations. So if you want to start thinking about maybe the sprints, the big boys we are up against, the same guys we met at the World Relays, for instance, last year at the Olympics. We were able to make the final of the men's 4x100 relay, which was such an excellent thing. In the individual events, as Amati Joseph, Paul and Cole went out there, competed for the first time on that big stage. So they've gained that experience, that championship experience. And so the Commonwealth Games, which is relatively a smaller competition involving 70 nations and not the Olympics or the World Championship, which is over 200 nations, maybe you will think that we have a greater chance because some of the other nations will not be at the Commonwealth Games. At Oregon, everybody will be there, and you really have to match up to them. And then I also make maybe just one more point. The fact that we are being ranked number 1, number 2 in the 100 meters now does not mean that in 3-4 months' time at the World Championships, we'll still be there at number 1, number 2. The rankings keep changing based on the performances. But within this period and the consistency we have achieved, if Ghana just comes in to support, then we'll put the athletes in a better place to compete with the rest of the world. That's the point I really wanted to make.
Well, we'll be doing the projections very shortly, but there's a message. Sure.
Let me just add this. I'm not saying that we are not getting support. We get some support from the ministry, especially last year during the Olympic Games and the relays. And we also got some support from the National Sports Authority. They gave us 16 tickets to the Celestial World Relays. The ministry also gave us some money from the campaign and the GOC. But what I want to add also is that we had a meeting with the GOC about a couple of weeks ago, and we made a presentation to them that we would like our athletes to camp to do their Commonwealth campaign in US, which in principle they have agreed. So we are now to iron out the details of the campaign. Even though yes, we're getting some support, but we need support, much bigger support to able to sustain this athlete to be where they are now.
Okay, very well. Let's take this message, and it's coming from the immediate past mayor of Accra. Now he says, I'm excited at the ongoing conversation on athletics, particularly with regards reviving inter-schools competitions and sustaining the development of our promising athletes. Mr. Bauer is an amazing sports administrator with the passion, resilience, and know-how to deliver if supported. Let's sustain the conversation on these least financed sports. This is from Mohammed Ajay Soa, the immediate past mayor of Accra. Thank you very much for that message. Okay, so back to you, Erasmus. Before we continue, let's do some projections. You talked about a bit of it, but let's start doing some projections so that we have a clearer idea of what we stand to gain if we're able to make that investment as a nation. So let's just say that this request by the Athletics Association was granted, and these athletes were put on either lump sum packages or monthly packages, so it could get them to focus solely on training. What would have been the scenario, considering the kind of competition that you have in the sprints, in long jump, in other events?
Well, a great question. So what would be the projection? I think Mr. Bauer has already spoken about some of them. But from what I've experienced with these, let me give you a classic example. 2016, we went to the African Championships. Things were not smooth sailing, and we couldn't get a lot of qualifiers. So we came back to Ghana, and we had a 2-week window before the window closed for real 2016 Olympic qualifiers. So the Athletics Association and the GOC camped the athletes at Elmina Beach Resort in Elmina, which is more like a plush hotel. They could now focus, concentrate, just be driving from Elmina to Cape Coast to train, go back, and just do what they have to do. That is when we produce the most amazing feat of 42.67 seconds in the women's relay to qualify for the Olympic Games. Now, we qualify for the Olympic Games in Cape Coast. That is amazing. We can deal with Janetta and Ponsan, who qualified in the 200 meters. We can talk about Emmanuel Dasso running a 45 in the 400 meters to also qualify. And so this is what we are talking about. When the athlete is focused on what they have to focus on, they have the right facilities, they have the right coaching, they don't have to be thinking about expenses and what they have to eat or what they have to just literally use to take care of themselves and focus on the job. They're able to produce the results. So when school goes down in May, for instance, let's look at the boys' relay or the men's relay. If you get Sean from the UK to join up with the guys in the USA, already we have Joe Paul, we have Azamati, we have Martin Usuenchi, and a host of them who want to make this team. If they're able to maybe go to the Penn relays or go to the Texas relays, the events around the USA to bond and compete over a period, you are giving the coach an opportunity to try various athletes in various positions and to form a good quality team. I mean, kudos to Professor Nsia, Andrew Owusu, Leo Miles Mills, who have handled the teams at very short notices, and they've been able to produce the results. But if you give them a longer time, give them enough competitive races against the Jamaicans of this world, the Americas, the Great Britons, then these boys build up confidence knowing that we can compete against them. Then we'll not have a repeat of, for instance, Azamati in the 100 meters race, where he literally confessed to, getting the jitters before the race because Johan Blake and the others were around them. So these are the things. It's just practical. Give them the opportunity to train in a good environment, give them quality opposition with stipends to take care of themselves. They will produce a result. I am very sure about that.
Well, interesting stuff there. Let's do another message that just came in. And this is from Mr. Johan Amorin. Good afternoon, Nat. The Ministry of Youth and Sports with the NSA should step up the plate and support these athletes and further develop a sustainable program to continuously support these athletes in the future. Have a great weekend. And I'm very excited about, these messages, especially the common denominator of a sustainable plan. A sustainable plan. Because, look, from my point of view as a sports fan and a journalist, I don't want these performances to go down. And I don't want the Ghanaian flag and the Ghanaian names to drop from these major ratings.
Nat, Erasmus did some research. We did it together. It will amaze you to see how ups and down Ghana athletics has been since 1972 or 73. Now there was some period
right
that
Ghana
athletics,
yes,
it dipped in the between 1978 up to 1984. It came up again. It dipped in the early 2000s. It came up again up to 2005, and it dipped. It's not coming up. And this is the time that research have shown that if you are able to sustain this one, we are going to continue to producing athletes that will fit into the national team so that we don't have to dip again. Because maybe those dips, people didn't do research to know that there was some dips in athletic performances in this country. Now that we did the research and we got to know that certain year, about after 10-15 years, there's always a dip. After 10-15 years, there was a dip. Now that we've gotten these athletes and their performance at the highest level, we should be able to sustain them with resources. Not only them, and we should also have a plan to replace them, because ultimately they will run to the ages that they can't run anymore.
A quick one. Did you say we should have a plan? You should have something.
No, we have a plan already.
Okay.
No, we have a blueprint already that we started in 2012. That's all led to these people. Because this current Quartet team started in 2007, 2018. When we went to London World Championship. We came to Doha World Championship in Doha. These are the same team that we started nurturing them. And we also have another pipeline of athletes that are also following this athlete. So on the part of the association, we have that plan already. But the execution of it sometimes is not too smooth, because sometimes we lack the resources to be able to execute that program successfully. But let me just add to what Erasmus said about the sacrifice the athletes have made over the years. When we went to Doha for the World Championship in Doha, these athletes were not given a penny. What we gave them was always a ticket. Prophet Dodo always told them that, look, go and let your performance show. Go and let your performance speak for yourself. Go and let your performance ask for what you deserve to be able to be a world athlete. And now they have done that. We went to Doha. We didn't give them a penny. Both the male relay quartet and the female relay quartet. Yeah, I remember, maybe if you can, Phalanx and German was always all the media complaining.
Exactly.
Yes,
I remember
complaining about that. Your colleague was also there. Joe Addo Jr. was there. It wasn't a pleasant experience, because to see athletes complain that we have run for Ghana, but we continue talking to them that, look, let your performance speak for yourself. Let performance speak for yourself, as you say. Now that they are getting there, I hope and pray that those who are supposed to listen to us are listening. And let me also congratulate the Office of the Vice President for congratulating these athletes, especially Benjamin Zamete, for breaking the national record. The office came out and congratulated him for that, and we do appreciate that. We need such goodwill messages from such political elite officers, so that people also know that the political elite also appreciate what these athletes are doing.
Give us an idea of the kind of spike that it gives these athletes psychologically when they're performing at the highest level. Nowadays, social media has even made the space, global space, very, very tight and close. And, for a message to come from the president of your nation, spurring you on and congratulating you for this. Tell me about the psychological impact.
You cannot be more proud to receive a congratulation message from your president or from your vice president or from your minister of state to you, or if you receive a phone call. Can you just imagine what it would do to Azamate morale and his psyche if he received a call from the president to say, "Oh, Benjamin Azamate, this is the president of Ghana. I'm calling to congratulate you for your feat, for you being the world number one, for breaking the national record 2 times in 2 years." Can you imagine what it would do to him if he relayed that one to his colleagues? That, oh, I've received a call from the minister, or I receive a call from the vice president, or I receive a call from the president of the Republic of Ghana, or I receive a call from the Speaker of Parliament, or I receive a call from the majority leader in Parliament, I receive a call from minority leader in Parliament congratulating us for what we have done for Ghana. So guys, Ghanaians or Ghana is looking up to us. Let us put up our best to even get better results than that. It will save a great deal for this athlete. They will be so proud to receive such a message from the political establishment in this country. And you just imagine when the president called the Black Stars for qualifying the World Cup in Nigeria. You could see from their faces. The coach was so excited that he received a call from the president.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if the call goes to these athletes, the pleasure or the joy, the encouragement, they will do far better than what they are doing currently.
Well, message is very clear and simple. I know you also have thoughts to share with us, and that's the reason why we'll be activating the phone lines in a bit, so that you can join us and articulate your thoughts on how we can get this going and we can keep the big names that we've produced now over there. We want them to stay there, especially as they are active. They have to stay there. Our flags have to represent on these big ranking tables, in the relevant spaces in athletics around the world. And especially as we're building up gradually to Birmingham 2022, the next Commonwealth Games. And also, most importantly, the Africa Games. Erasmus, tell me about the weight of expectation. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. For now, there's a lot of focus on getting the infrastructure ready. We raised a lot of red flags, a lot of, sent out a lot of SOS messages. Gladly, the procurement phase of the preparation is done, and now actual work has started, and we're hoping that we can break in and make the time so that we can meet timelines and test all of these facilities before the whole of the African continent gets here. But let's also talk about the performance bit, because once the infrastructure is done, which we know will be done by the grace of God and with all the hard work, then the critical thing about hosting this event and dominating and winning, because when you look around the world, a lot of the time the trend is such that nations that host multi-sport events like the Olympics and Commonwealth Games always show in the top 3 in terms of medal hauls.
Well, again, I think it's a great question and a great point you raised there. Apart from the infrastructure, what is Ghana doing performance-wise? I had a chat with a member of the media committee of the LOC, and I asked the same question. And then he simply told me that, well, the LOC's job is to make sure infrastructure, organization, and human resource, all that is in place for the competition. So when it comes to the actual preparation of the teams, that is more down to the federations and the ministry. And so as GAA, what is the GAA's plan? What is the ministry's plan? That is even the most important one. Now, I need to be very, very fair and firm to the audience and everybody listening. We don't seem to have a plan in place. And maybe I'm just hoping I am wrong. From a GAA perspective, I've seen the rollout of the programs for the year. I've seen the plans they want to do going into next year, which is all excellent. They are receiving their own funding and doing that. But we need to move it to the next level. And in this breath, I'm not even only talking about athletics. What is the plan for the football team? What is the plan for the various boxing team? We seem to be taking them just one by one, or more like a short-term measure. So GA probably is actually thinking about the Commonwealth Games. From the Secretary General, is thinking about the Commonwealth Games, is thinking about Oregon. So after the season goes down, let's say August, September, thereabouts, what is the plan, going forward? I think that is where we need to start asking questions of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And I'm very happy Mr. Bauer is there, because maybe he'll be in a better position to provide the exact details of what we are looking for. But from a candidate perspective, we don't seem to have a plan in place for the performance side for the African Games.
Now,
all right. Yeah, sure.
Your question, your question were 2 questions: the infrastructure and the plan. I can talk about the infrastructure authoritatively. The construction of the Titan tracks or the running surface at the University of Ghana let me first and foremost thank the LOC and the chairman that the contractor didn't want to go along with what we have proposed for him to do under pretext that it was too expensive.
Okay.
But we said no, we need a first-class running surface for Ghana. The Mundo. They have 3 classes.
Okay.
And they were opting for the second class. We said no, we want the best that we can get in the world. So the LOC also supported our stand. And thank God, next week, the Mundo guys are coming to Ghana to sign the contract so that they will construct a first-class Mundo running surface for Ghana at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. They're also going to construct a warm-up track. That's also going to be also first class. So we're getting 2 first-class Mundo running surface in Ghana for the All-African Games. And the LOC and the Ghana Athletics Association and the Confederation of African Athletics are planning to host an international event in Ghana next year, just before the African Game, so that we'll use it to test all the equipment, to test our athletes, the infrastructure and everything. On that score, we are working so closely with the LOC and with the chairman, who is so fantastic, he's so helpful. Anytime we have an issue, we go to him, we always come out with a solution. What we are waiting for is how to prepare Team Ghana. That's a separate issue. How to support or prepare Team Ghana to go for the African Game 2023. When we complete, or when the season ends after Birmingham, what else do we do to keep our outlet training till the next season? If we allow them to go and rest, or we don't come them, we don't sustain their training, for them to come back next year, it will be a problem. So we need to have a plan together with the LOC, with the Sports Authority, with the ministry, so that after the season ends, what do we do to continue to maintain these athletes till we go to the African Games? No, next year it's not too far away. It's just a season away. But some people may think that 2022 or 2023 is a bit far away. It's not far away. It's just a season away. We're in the last season. The next season is the African Games season. So we cannot say that we have enough time. We are even late in terms of preparing Team Ghana.
I see.
Yeah, we are even late. Frankly, we are even late in terms of preparing Team Ghana. We are just lucky that we have this 3 international competition: the African Championship, we have the World Championship, and we have the Commonwealth Games coming. We can also use this one to prepare these athletes. But the problem is, when we end the season, what do? Thankfully, the LOC is also very listening. LOC, we have some agreement to go and do Eco World Championship at Cape Coast on the 14th and 18th to 22nd of May. They are fully involved, but we want to see what we will do together after the season ends, so that before we hit to the next year's season, we should be able to achieve our projection of 7 gold medals for Ghana during the African 2023.
A minimum of 7 gold medals.
A minimum of 7 gold medals.
Wow.
Yes. Somebody asked me, how are we going to achieve that? So we have the materials. What we need
is the support.
Is the support. If you're able to support us, look, we can win 100, we can win 200, we can win the relays, we can win long jump, we can win high jump. This athlete, something that I can just think off my head. If that support, Abigail can still win. Deborah can win. Atamate can win. Joe Paul can win. The quartet team can win. These are something that, with a little support, we should be able to just take these 5 gold medals at the African Games.
I see. Let's bring you into the conversation now. It's 0302216541 and 0551111997. 0302216541 and 0551111997. Please make sure to prefix with +233 if you are outside of Ghana. Remember, we're also streaming on My Joy Online TV, having this wonderful conversation about athletics and what the prospects are looking like as we go further into the year, with big competitive platforms beckoning. Do also remember that Ghana is currently enjoying a space within global rankings that has not been the case for some time now. And the conversation is about how we can maintain it and ensure that there is a fluid flow of talent who can also take up these spaces as we go further into the future. So reach us. It's 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, and 055-1111-997 here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM and all of our other channels. Okay, so conversations have been had with these athletes. What do they tell you when you have conversations with them, especially as we're getting closer and closer to these major events? I'll start with you, Erasmus. How do you gauge their psyche at this time and at this stage as we build up to these major events? Okay, so we'll try and re-establish contact and the connection with Erasmus. Let's come to you, Bawa.
Yeah. Now, sometimes they will ask you, Mr. Bawa, are we also Ghanaians?
Wow.
Very often.
I see.
Yes. So why is now sometimes when we are traveling, we don't even get anything? We look at other people. Sometimes they do the comparison.
Okay,
yes.
We're going to come into that so that everybody has a very close detail of what it looks like when, we're talking about other countries and how they're preparing their athletes. But let's get on the phone line now. Let's have a conversation with our first caller. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Thanks for asking. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, when you look at America, for instance, they are not excelling that much in the world football, but the athlete is pushing them to some certain level. For we Ghanaians in the world arena for football, we are not doing that better. But why can't we also focus on the athletes so that the level at which football will take us to, at least athletics will also push us forward, so that in development we get something small for football, we get something small for athletics. A lot of people want to support, but they are not seeing that our athletics are going forward. So I think when the authorities rise up, a lot of will also follow, so that Ghana athletics will go forward. Thank you for your program.
Thank you very much. 0302-216-541 and 055-1111-997. Okay, let's do the details of what others tell these athletes, what their peers tell them, because it's very serious. We do remember what happened with football, with the Black Stars, where they had conversations with some of their colleagues, and they had an idea what was being done for them. Sometimes it affects.
Yes,
it affects them.
It affects them psychologically. Sometimes you be there and you have a WhatsApp call one of the athletes. Mr. Bawa, I heard that the football they were giving them 10,000 or 5,000 bonuses, even though if they go to Africa, AFCON, this amount of money they get from the state. Are we not also entitled for those bonuses? So we always find a nice way to tell them that where football is, so let us also get our performance to get to where the football, we can also go and demand that thing for you, and this is the time that we have to demand those things for them.
I see.
This is the time. So sometimes it doesn't encourage. It doesn't encourage us. Sometimes to the athlete, you realize that they have pain when they're asking those questions. And sometimes some of them will even threaten that, if we don't get those things, we can enter into BMO. But we always find ways of telling them that they should sacrifice a bit, let their performance speak for them, and when the times come, they also get what the footballers are getting. We are not equating the two federations, but we are just saying that whatever the athlete deserves, the state should be able to provide them, to be able to sustain them where they are now, even to improve upon it come next season. I don't like comparison, so football is getting this work. No, football is a different federation. They also have their structures. If athletics were getting what the football is getting, I would have been much happier.
Of course.
Yes. So let them get what they're getting. Let also athletics also get what they also deserve, so that we don't come rivaling or doing comparison between two federations. No, I mean, whoever gets something from the states, I mean, who would reject that?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Erasmus, I want you to also give us a feel of what you also pick up from these athletes. You know, the kinds of conversations they have with you, especially when we're in times like these and there are high expectations of them, yet the support structure is not so strong.
Well, the athletes, I mean, as we all know, they're also very much social media. They follow the commentary and everything. Flings Ozu Ajapong, for instance, was very vocal in time past on these issues. And so whenever they do hear that the Black Stars are taking 100,000 appearance fee, 10,000 and all that, they also do ask questions. What about us? And why are we also not being paid, you know, the very simple things like the per diem allowances, sometimes even getting the air ticket. They've had to sacrifice over a period. But as Mr. Bauer said, the good thing is when you as a federation creates the environment within where the athletes is being told the truth. Listen, we don't have anything from the ministry. We don't have anything from government. This is how much we have, and this is how much or what we can do for you. In that way, from the off, the athletes understands exactly what the federation has and what is at stake. So if anything develops later on, they already have the background information. And I think that is one of the things you can't credit this particular federation for having done. It's about and the other secretary generals and the presidents who have been there, the period he's been there. They've been very frank, you know, with the athletes. But trust me, they also feel they do demand, you know, they deserve to get something. After all, they are winning medals, they are getting to finals of events, and they also do deserve something. But somehow that clarion call, the national fervor, you know, at times supersedes every other thing. And so they will sacrifice to go to competitions. I remember Leo Malsnell's at a point telling the boys not to really bother about whatever they are getting or what they are not getting, but just focus on the track and what they can get out of it. Because at the end, if you're able to produce those 8 times, you are going to attract things for yourself. Sponsors will come your way. You're able to build yourself up individually. I think that is what keeps them going. But for how long are we going to be able to do that?
Well, interesting times and interesting stuff. We just got about 4 minutes to wrap up this conversation, and I'd like to start the final lap with you, Bauer. Would want to know what the immediate line of action is, especially from your end. You know, within the circumstance, what is the immediate line of action? What are we going to do regarding getting ourselves ready? You know, psyching these athletes up and just making them understand the reality of the situation, and hopefully, you know, further engagement with the sports ministry?
Yes, we intend to engage the ministry early next week after the holidays with the NSA. We already booked appointment with the Director General, Professor Peter Chimezie, on Thursday at 2 p.m. And we're also trying to get the ministry to have a meeting with the ministry sometime next week. But our immediate plans now is to be able to raise a team for the African Championships in Mauritius from 8th to 12th June. And we are doing that through the West African Championship in Ghana here, come 18th to 19th May. And we also do our national championship on the 14th of May this month, both in Cape Coast. The ECOWAS and the national championship is going to be in Cape Coast. Hopefully we'll be able to get our national team, including the foreign-based athletes, for the African Championships in Mauritius. And we have a very strict rules or procedure by which we communicate to our athletes. Even though I have direct access to the athletes, but I don't communicate directly with them. I communicate to them through their foreign-based rep, that's Professor Andrew. He also relates every information to us in Ghana here in terms of their data, in terms of their upkeeping, in terms of their training, in terms of their coaches. So in terms of the foreign-based athlete, we have very good communication and very good procedure by which we monitor them, and we are always on point with them. So Prof. Andrew will continue to monitor, to continue to talk to them and to inspire them for them to continue performing, so that when we come back from the World Championships, then we can now sit down with the LLC and the ministry to plan what is going to happen between after August till the time we have the All-African Games. That is very crucial thing that we have to do. So immediately we have 3 important competition. African Championship in Mauritius from 8th to 12th June. We have World Championship from 15th to 24th July, and of course we have the Birmingham Commonwealth Games ending of July to August. But crucially, again, we would like to have the foreign-based athlete camp in US, so that the Sean will move from London, yes, to meet them, so they're able to practice and practice well, so that when they finish the World Championship, they just move from World Championship grounds to the Birmingham for the Commonwealth Games, so that cohesion, even though they have strong connection, but we want that cohesion, training togetherness, to be able to practice very well for the relay team to happen. So the GOC in principle have agreed that they will support us to go to the camp in the US for the Commonwealth Game campaign in the US. We are just going to submit our documents with regards to that and see how it goes. But I'm more than 100% hope that the GOC will support that.
All right, Erasmus, we'll wrap up with you. Everything all said and done, everything put together, where's your level of confidence? How would you rate your own level of confidence and the amount of hope you have for the future, the immediate future, that is, considering the kind of itinerary that Boaf Hosseini has given us?
Yes, I mean, it's been a long time since we won a medal at the Commonwealth Games. And so I really think this is the time, this is the opportunity we have. To get 2 sub-10s in the relay team is simply amazing. So if we can sustain that, then I'm expecting a greater impact at Birmingham. I think the last time we won a medal in the athletics was also in the women's 400 relay, 2010 in Delhi. So it's been about 12 years or something of a sort. So I think the boys are in a great position to be able to do something in that vein. Deborah Akwa, this will be about her biggest competition at the highest level in a very long time. So if she's able to get to the final of her event, I always say kudos. Anything can develop, especially in the jump event, where you have to keep your nerves through the qualification period, get to the finals, and then see where that one leads you. The same for Abigail Quatin, who will be competing in her major international competition. In the individual events of Azamati and then Joe Paul, I think Azar has a very great opportunity to make the finals, at least the finals of the Commonwealth Games. And if he's able to keep his nerves, you never know. I mean, a lot of people have confidence he can medal. I also think he can medal. There's just a few things he needs to get right, especially keeping his nerves at the highest level. And so that for me is it. But at the African Championships, I think that is where we are going to bring in maybe our biggest haul of medals in a very long time. Great. Our greatest opponents will come from Nigeria, South Africa in the sprint events. But Deborah Akwa is expected to medal at the African Championship, and so is Abigail Quatin, and then the relay teams as well, where I think Ghana can again get a gold medal in that specific event. Those for me are my expectations.
And the internet will just cut off maybe at the right time. But Erasmus, thank you so much. It's been wonderful having your thoughts, your very informed thoughts on this subject. We're going to be doing this some more as we go along, and so you continue to stay with us as we build up to all these major events and bring you close to the athletes who will be at the center of all of these big performances, and of course those people who are also facilitating from the end of administration. This has been another Joy Sports Link. I'm gonna take some time. I'll be back later on in the coming month, but all of you do stay well. Thank you all so much for the messages and all, and apologies to all those whose messages were not read. We try our best to just squeeze all of them in. And once again, to our listener, Apsu Francis Boateng, who's inviting everybody who attended St. Augustine's to an emergency Aponchi Cracker at his residence. Hey, Charlie, but this one I'm taking you there. I'm taking you there in cantonments. Yeah, 3 p.m. is the reporting time. Every Absunian, you attended St. Augustine's College. We're going to have a good time this afternoon. And congratulations once again to Ghana's all-time top scorer, Asamoah Gyan. Tonight is a big night, and we sure are going to bring you all of the big highlights on our subsequent shows during the week. Thanks to the whole production team here at Joy Sports. We'll be bringing you some more of these must-listen-to conversations. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.